Alright, guys, this is Tyler John Santos, and this is my presentation on Edgar Allan Poe and his poem, Annabel Lee. Here we go. His biography right here. He was born January 19th, 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts, and he died on October 7th, 1849, and had a really short life of 40 years, actually. And he died in Baltimore, Maryland. And fun fact is that the Baltimore NFL team is named after his poem, The Raven. And he never really knew his parents growing up. They were both actors, and his mom died of tuberculosis when he was 3, and his dad left early on in his life. And he attended the University of Virginia. All right, here we do the summary, and this link right here, if you guys would like to click it, is the link to the poem if you want to read along. And Annabel Lee is considered to be the last poem that Edgar Allan Poe ever wrote, and it was said to be for his wife, Virginia, who passed away from tuberculosis, just like his mother, actually. A long time ago, Annabel Lee and the narrator began a relationship with love that was unlike any other type of love. The two were made to love each other. They were both very, very young, and their love was coveted by heaven. The angels were not happy, so they wanted to take the love away from the couple to have it for themselves. Annabel Lee tragically died from a wind in a cloud, and the narrator felt like she had been ripped away from him. Although she was gone, the angels in heaven nor the demons under the sea could never truly take Annabel away from him. He would dream of her if he couldn't really be with her. When the stars twinkled, he would see her eyes. When the moon shined, he could be with her. She is laid to rest in the kingdom of the sea after her death. All right. First thing I really noticed when I read it was the allusion that Edgar Allan Poe put into his other work, his other poem, The City and the Sea, which was published in 1845. And it was about a city that was doomed under the sea. First theme that stuck out to me after I read Annabel Lee was the fact that the narrator is very infatuated with the beauty of Annabel, seen in the quote on line 16, "My beautiful Annabel Lee," and the fact that he compares her eyes to the stars because they are so beautiful. The narrator is so in love with the way that Annabel looks that he vocalizes it many times within the poem, how beautiful she is. 6 times to be exact. It's a pretty big number. He's in love with everything about her. This overkill of saying she is beautiful is hammering in the fact that it is truly what he believes. It's not just something that's coming out of his mouth or not to please her or anyone else, I guess. And if you truly love someone, you ought to tell her she's beautiful just as much as he does. Theme 2. The second theme that stuck out to me was the narrator's insistence that Annabel's death was due to envy. Gary Lemko says at 2 key points, the narrator finds the reason for Annabel Lee's demise to be heaven's covetousness and heaven's envying her and me, being their love, the narrator and Annabel Lee. The narrator believes that their love was so great and so wise and unlike any other love that the heavens coveted in what they had, so they snatched it away from them. If the heavens and angels are so jealous and envious of these two, you would assume that everyone else is looking at them as the model of love to follow, because I know I would. Alright. Theme 3. The third theme of this poem is about the type of love that the two shared during this time of the relationship. Their love was different. Bloom says, but we loved with a love that was more than love. Use repetition to suggest the circularity and insufficiency of the attempt to describe the ideal passion. Poe posits a love so pure that the word love cannot encompass it. And Poe says, by the name of Annabel Lee, and this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. Every couple in the world would want to have the love that the narrator and Annabel Lee had. The word love couldn't even describe their love. In a sense, that in itself describes how overpowering it is with their feelings for each other. Like I said in the previous slide before, they were in such a good place with their relationship that it was coveted by the angels in heaven. During the poem, you can really hear in the narrator's voice uh, that he is going through a great deal of pain after he just lost Annabel, his beloved. A traumatic loss like this can alter a person's life in many different ways. You really never know how it's going to change them. But the narrator keeps his love for Annabel alive. As a reader, you never really you can't actually hear what the narrator's voice sounds like, so you can't like hear certain like syntax things. But the way I picture it and how I read is I put myself in the narrator's shoes, and I feel like I would definitely be in a tremendous amount of pain because I would have just lost the most important woman of my life. And the narrator, is still trying very hard to hang on to her. And this could be the downfall of him. It could be the downfall of anyone having a traumatic experience like that, losing a loved one. Theme 5. Poe introduces Annabel as the maiden there live, whom you may know. And the way I interpreted this is he could have been stepping around the idea that this poem could be about someone other than his late wife, Virginia. Many women came forward to say that it was about them and not her. And Sova says, other women in his life, including Sarah Anna Lewis, Helen Whitman, and Sarah Elmira Royster, claimed that they were the woman uh, that was immortalized in this poem. They believed that they were Annabel Lee and not Virginia. It really seems that Edgar Allan Poe had a way with the ladies in real life and in his work, and he was actually engaged to Sarah Elmira Royster at one point, but he came to figure out that she got engaged to another guy, so that was called off. 6. At the very beginning of the poem, it starts out with, it was many and a many years ago. And this means, obviously, that it happened a while ago, and the narrator is still loving Annabel. Because he is accounting different memories and remembering. At the beginning of the poem, it said it was many and many a year ago, which answers my question on my theme 4 slide. If you go back, um, the narrator did not have his great brown fall like I wondered if he would, and from Annabel's death. He is still dreaming of her to this day. She is still beautiful to him to this day. She is his bride till this day. He loves her till this day, and he won't ever stop. He still believes her death was due to envy and jealousy, but these are no match for their love, an unbreakable bond. Theme 7 is my last theme, um, and I think certainly the biggest. I noticed that the narrator's love is so strong. It's a combination of all, uh, excuse me, the previous 6 themes that is so strong that not even death could keep him from loving Annabel. He would do it in his dreams. Poe says, "For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee." Rhyming like Eminem here. Put him to shame. If he could not have her in life, at least they were wedded in his dreams, where he sleeps by her side. That's what Huff said. The narrator cared so deeply um, and loved so hard on Annabel that his feelings lasted beyond her death. He was determined that her being gone would not stop him from loving her forever. She would have, he would have her in his dreams, and they would lay together. Coping with a loved one dying is a very tough thing that too many people know all too well about. I'm sure all widows would love to have the same mindset as this narrator, but it's just not that easy. But hey, that's why this is a poem written by Edgar Allan Poe and not a real life. Because if everything were perfect, everything wouldn't be perfect because it would just be. Alright, this is the conclusion. This poem of Annabel Lee is truly fascinating with its many different themes and messages, and it is a great testament to how strong love is. And love really is what you make it, and it can be as strong as you want it to be. It can be as weak as you want it to be. But as long as you work with the person that you love, they work with you. There's no telling how far you could go. And that's what the great thing about love is. That it's I don't believe it can truly be defined to one thing. And I really think that this showcases Poe's writing ability really well because he embeds secret messages in his poems so well for the reader to uncover and for them to have their own interpretation of, and to really bring the story to life. And show you my works cited page right here. And thank y'all for tuning in and listening to me talk for a while. And I hope y'all have a great holiday.